What's up, y'all? I am Marcus, and this is Bloodborne. Man, this is it. We're waking up after an odd blood ministration in this rusty-ass Victorian medical facility. We've had a fevered dream, and the only thing that we know is that we need to seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. That is our entire guidance. I'm starting off this character. I've got professional is my origin. So you start in Bloodborne, instead of choosing a class like in Dark Souls or Demon Souls, you choose an origin, which basically determines your stats. And you don't really have specific starting equipment based off of a class. Let me see the first enemy of the game, and you can already kind of tell this game is going to be nasty. You can just beat this enemy to death with your bare hands if you want, because every single hit that you land staggers it. But it takes time unless you can land a clean backstab on it, and it's just kind of boring. So I'm gonna just run by if you'll come over here. Woo! He got me good. Hope he doesn't follow me. Alright, we got away. So this courtyard here has two gates exiting. That one won't be open for quite some time. We'll have to open it from the other side. This one leads into Central Yharnam. And we can pick up some blood vials here. It doesn't matter if you die in there to that werewolf. It doesn't matter. It's gonna take you to where we're gonna be heading anyway. I just don't like to die if I don't have to. I missed. I almost got him. It's a lot easier to get him if you can bait the torch attack. But the torch attack's very deadly. Here I am wasting blood vials on this guy. We don't even need to fight him. Oh! But if I can get a backstab, he'll die easy. There we go. So to land backstabs in this game, you have to do a fully charged R2 from behind, and that'll knock them down, and then you walk up behind them and push the R1, the normal attack button, to execute your backstab. And we even got our blood vial back, so it ain't all bad. It's a pretty big change to the gameplay compared to Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, but I really like it. I think it's pretty good overall. The atmosphere, man. Hear that cleric beast screeching in the background as you climb up. And you can see another item down there. We'll pick that up in just a minute. Let's get a weapon before we do that. Locked shortcut gate here. And our first NPC.
Oh, you must be a hunter. And not one from around here either. I'm Gilbert, a fellow outsider. You must have had a fine time of it. Yharnam has a special way of treating guests. Well, I don't think I could stand if I wanted to, but I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done. This town is cursed. Whatever your reasons might be, you should plan a swift exit. Whatever can be gained from this place, it will do more harm than good.
Let me see, Gilbert, not really big on Yharnam. I want you to pay attention to this light that has the smoke coming out the top. That's actually incense. This is an incense burner. And those are actually very important. And they'll mark most of the NPC locations, but there's a story reason for their existence.
Pale blood, you say? Never heard of it. But if it's blood you're interested in, you should try the Healing Church. The church controls all knowledge on blood ministration and all varieties of blood. Across the valley to the east of Yharnam lies the town of the Healing Church, known as the Cathedral Ward. And deep within Cathedral Ward is the old Grand Cathedral, the birthplace of the Healing Church's special blood, or so they say. Yharnamites don't share much with outsiders. Normally they wouldn't let you near the place, but the hunt is on tonight. This might be your chance. Across the valley to the east of Yharnam, you'll find the Cathedral Ward. Deep within lies the old main cathedral, said to be the source of blood. I haven't heard of pale blood, but that's your best bet if it's anything to do with unique types of blood.
So the Cathedral Ward is right over there. That's the Cathedral Ward that we're looking at from here. That's to the east of Yharnam. This is central Yharnam. This is the eastern section, which is the Cathedral Ward, and down there is the valley that he was talking about. So we can see the two ways across to the Cathedral Ward here. We see this main bridge, and then if you look underneath the arch of the main bridge over there, you can just barely make out another bridge. So there's a couple of different ways to get there. But first, let's light this lamp. This basically operates as the bonfires, I guess you could say, of Bloodborne. And this is going to take us to the Hunter's Dream. This is the Hunter's Dream. This is the main hub of Bloodborne. These tombstones will allow us to warp to the different places that we've been before. And these will allow access to Chalice dungeons later. Here you see the abandoned doll. Currently inactive, and as we approach, these messengers pop out to give us weapons. So, Hunter Axe is a strength weapon. The Threaded Cane is a dex weapon, but the Saw Cleaver is pretty much the most well-rounded, and it has some special effects that give it bonus damage against certain types of enemies. And I pretty much just recommend using the Saw Cleaver for a new player. Here we also get to choose a firearm. The Blunderbuss, this shoots a spread of weak shots. If all of the shots hit, it can do a lot of damage, but it's got a very short range. The pistol, longer range, maybe a little bit weaker, but it's got longer range, one shot, and it's also faster, which means it's easier to parry, which means that's the one I want. And then we can take the notebook, which is going to let us send messages to other players in other worlds. And now we have weapons. So now we're doing pretty good. And here we have an old man.
Aha! You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the Hunter's Dream. This will be your home for now. I am Gammon, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it.
So the hunter's friend Garamond tells us just go out and hunt some beasts because that's what hunters do.
This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons. rotting flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the dog, should it please you.
Alright, that's very cryptic, and to escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. You can see that some of the tools are missing, but we can actually use this workshop to upgrade our weapons, only we don't have any materials yet, so there's no point in even trying. And here is our storage box when we go to looking for that. For now, the one other key thing to note is the Bath Messenger. This is where you can buy items using blood echoes. Blood echoes are essentially souls, currency, and experience. There's one interesting thing to note is that since your healing item is permanently bound to the triangle button, it's not a normal usable item, and it doesn't show up in your inventory. So if you want to read the lore on that, you have to do it here. Once a patient has had their blood ministered, a unique but common treatment in Yharnam, successive infusions recall the first and are all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yharnamites are heavy users of blood. We also have some lore on these Molotov cocktails here. Since the tragedy that struck old Yharnam, fire has become a staple in beast hunts and is thought to cleanse impurity. So that's a little bit about old Yharnam there. And Ludwig, the first hunter of the Healing Church, once recruited Yharnamites to serve as hunters. Learn a little bit about Ludwig. And we'll get back into the action now. I do want to show you one funny little thing if I can actually pull this off. Let's see. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm ruining the sanctity of your doll waifu, but it's just so funny that you can clip that like that right there. As you can tell, I am editing out the loading. There is actually quite a bit of loading in Bloodborne. It's really bad. I'm editing it out so you guys don't have to deal with it. We're back in the clinic, but this time, this door is closed.
Are you out on the hunt? Then I'm very sorry, but I cannot open this door. I am Yosefka. The patients here in my clinic must not be exposed to infection. I know that you hunt for us, for our town, but I'm sorry. Please. This is all that I can do.
Yosefka's blood vial.
Now, go. And good hunting.
Pay attention to her hand there. Just, I'll explain why later, but just pay attention to her hand.
Are you still in need of something? But I have nothing more to offer. Please, try to understand my position. I can only pray for a fruitful hunt.
Yosefka, best waifu. She gives us this Yosefka's blood vial acquired from Yosefka's clinic. The product of a slow and careful refinement process, this rare blood vial appears to be a clinic original. This does indeed heal more than your standard blood vial does. Blood vials, by the way, are percentage based, so this one heals a much larger percentage. And now it's time for revenge. Give me them blood vials. You don't really get anything for beating him to death with your bare hands, which is really disappointing considering that's been a tradition in Souls games for a while. To have some tough initial challenge that you have to overcome, and if you do so with minimal resources, then you get some sort of thing. Oh, I missed it. There we go. These Visceral Attacks, they're not always the highest damage option. Like, sometimes it's better when an enemy is down like that, they will automatically take double damage from, roughly double damage from the next attack that hits them. And now we have Molotovs, and now I'm on fucking fire! So it's not always best to do a visceral attack, but you can get special runes which function similar to rings from Dark Souls, and they'll give you special effects that work in conjunction with visceral attacks. So sometimes it's still worth doing them, but from a damage perspective, sometimes another attack is better. And lordy lordy, look at all them enemies. Whew. And look at this counter damage. 84, one hit. We're doing 84 on a counter, whereas a normal hit is doing 50. I just used a transformation attack. If you push L1, you transform your weapon, and you have two different modes. If you're doing something like an attack, and then you push L1, you'll do an attack and transform the weapon. And that is an instant guard break, and it's got some other really cool special properties too. Yeah. Those pitchfork guys are buttholes. Woo! See, he got me. And here I'm using regain. Even though I got hit, I'm already back at full health. That's because after you get hit, you have a brief period of time where you can strike the enemy back and recover that health. Really, really useful. Alright, now open that shortcut gate, bust these boxes so I got somewhere to run to. This is the area at the very beginning of the game where we just came from a minute ago. So, just got a little shortcut open now. Let's try this guy. Whew. Oh shit, I hit the parry but missed the riposte. Well, it's not called a riposte, it's now called a visceral attack. You have a very long window to roll up and do that. Nice. This is a kind of a tough optional enemy that you can fight here. If you can parry, he's not tough at all, but otherwise you might have some trouble. Man, the detail in this fucking... The detail in this level, man. Rip you apart. The enemies will patrol up and down the streets. Here we see another incense burner, so there's going to be an NPC here we can talk to, and more Molotovs.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
So, the first time I actually played this section of Bloodborne... Oh, well, let's talk to this first.
Lads, you've come on. You'd open a door on a night of a hunt. Away with you. Now.
They really don't like outsiders. The first time I played this, I was actually at FromSoft. This was last autumn. I went with Future Press to Tokyo Game Show. We had a casual dinner with Mr. Miyazaki, drank some beers, ate some chicken. It was pretty fucking awesome. And then a couple days later, we went and visited them at their offices, and they let me sit down and play the game in front of Miyazaki-san, the development team, some guys from Sony, no pressure. And I came on this part, and I ran up here, and I just went and started fighting all those guys and paid no attention to this sniper right here, or these stairs, or any of this stuff. I just charged head in and fought all those enemies, because it just seemed like the Souls thing to do. And I won. And when I won, I was thinking to myself, alright, man, I made a good showing for myself in front of FromSoft, in front of Sony. I'm doing pretty good. And Miyazaki was like, aw, he lived. I was like, what the hell do you mean I lived? That son of a bitch was rooting against me. And at the time I didn't really understand why, but now I get it. Because from a designer's perspective, like, They wanted this section to be really hard, so that if you ran up there and in there and just fought everything, that they wanted you to discourage you from doing that, and instead promote the player to look around and find, oh, there's a sniper over here, oh, there's stairs over here, oh, I can sneak around and do stuff a different way. Bloodborne's different than other Souls games. Like you can find these like stealthy ways to do things. But I just ran in there and killed everything. So he was really hoping I would die, but I didn't. Not there anyway. Right here we get our first Bloodstone Shard. That was a tough moment in my life right there. Man, this is my hero, and he's like, oh man, you didn't die. I was like, the fuck, man? All in good fun though. As you approach these stairs, this bell rings, these guys are gonna start patrolling, and they break off into these separate groups. Now, you can be smart about this and maybe not fight them all one-on-one, but at least fight them in small groups instead of rushing in like guns blazing and fighting them all, which obviously you can do because I have done it. It's really not that difficult for people who have been playing Souls games. But if you're new, I wouldn't really recommend it. Ah, shit. Katana guys, or Cutlass guys, the more dangerous of those two. So I wanted to take him out. Can see an item up there we can't quite get to yet. We'll get to it pretty soon though. First, pick this stuff up. There's nice some bullets there for us. Oh, I missed. Oh no, I didn't miss. Okay. Great. You see these guys patrolling around. Let's get that dog's attention with a pebble. By the way, I just did a backstep R2. I want to point out, I know a lot of people have been really freaked out about, oh my god, there's not going to be enough weapons and da-da-da-da-da, but the moveset of every individual weapon is so much more advanced than anything you had in previous Souls games. So you got a backstep R1, you got a backstep R2, you got a dashing R1, well, you got a dashing R1, you've got a dashing R2, you're starting to get the picture. And then you transform the weapon, and you have a backstep R2 and a backstep R1. You've got all of these different moves, and basically each of your weapons is more like an entire class of weapons from Dark Souls, for example. Oh man, I'm gonna get all these guys at once, aren't I? Ah well. Pitchfork guys suck. Oh, gun guy saw me. That's not good. I was gonna show y'all how to do it smooth way, but you know me, I like action. The guy on top of that wagon is very carefully placed so that if you run, he hears you and will shoot. But if you walk, he has no idea you're here. And you can do this. Get off my wagon. And once the dog's dead and the snipers are dead, you're in pretty good shape. Go ahead and get some bullets. Yeah. Good times. You can run through and do that a whole lot quicker, but I just wanted to show you kind of the basic idea. They stealth up the stairs, hop down, deal with enemies in small groups. This is the way you're supposed to do things. Unless you just want to go in, fight and everything. More Bloodstone Shards, yay. Takes more than one to get that first upgrade. Takes 3 to get that first upgrade, say. It's another incense burner.
I don't reckon you're from round here. Well, stuck outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing.
Yharnamites are not very helpful or kind. So this is the Fountain Plaza, and we could go down this way. This is the normal way through the level, but before we go here, I actually want to open up a really helpful shortcut that some of you guys, if you're having trouble, just know about this. This is the kennels shortcut. The dog kennels over here. This guy's gonna bust out of his cage. These guys are gonna die in one hit and basically be free blood echoes for me. I always want to say free souls, but anyway, you can go this way and you've skipped a huge chunk of the level, or we can go back here and open up a shortcut, which is obviously what we're gonna choose to do. Run up here and grab an item. We'll be able to drop down here later, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But for now, just gonna run over here. Some enemies stalking down there. We're in this dark house here, this dark residence. Enemy in a wheelchair. Don't be confused. Drops quicksilver bullets, really helpful. Every time you come through here, it's worth it to kill this guy just to get the bullets. The main reason I wanted to show you this, other than the shortcut, is because you get this Pungent blood cocktail here. Very useful for a particular encounter a little ways down the road for us. Mature blood cocktail that releases a pungent odor when thrown that attracts bloodthirsty beasts. A precious tool in sadly short supply. In Yharnam, they produce more blood than alcohol, as the former is the more intoxicating. Also, cool lore note. When the hunt began, the Healing Church left us, blocking the Great Bridge to Cathedral Ward, as old Yharnam burned to the ground that moonlit night. And we've already learned a little bit about old Yharnam from the Molotov Cocktails too, so it's another reference to this lore event. They've included these notes in the game. At first I wasn't too happy about it, because it seems like they're trying to spell things out too much, but there's not that many, so it's not bad. Also, I killed this guy too quick, but what I wanted to note is when you come out of this house, it's really cool. The enemy comes down the stairs to attack you, and you move up and you fight him, and then you see the item on the ground, and you go and get it, and you turn your camera, and then you see these stairs, and they just kind of naturally lead you to this shortcut. It's the same stuff that Souls fans are used to from the past, but it's always cool. It's just always cool to me. So now, let's go back to that plaza that we skipped earlier. Here's a broken rail we can hop down. Just a little shortcut if you're in a hurry. Oh, I missed an item. Glad we came back. Ooh, it's Molotov Cocktails. I'm glad I got that. Those are very useful, especially early in the game. Although items do actually maintain some usefulness even later, because as you see over here on the attribute bonus, unlike in previous Souls games, these items actually scale with your stats. So you get a little boost out of your strength and a big boost out of your arcane to your Molotov Cocktail damage. So if you're doing an arcane build, those Molotov Cocktails are going to light enemies up. Well, I mean, literally, but birds tend to attack in a straight line, so as long as you get a little bit off to the side, They're gonna miss, and you're gonna get an easy counter. Oil urns. Oil urns roughly double the damage that an enemy takes when you hit them with the next fire attack. Only one fire attack, but the next fire attack that hits them will roughly deal double damage. And it basically makes fire the best element. It basically makes bolt and arcane, like, what's the point? Little stagger action there, buddy. Ah. If you miss that backstab, it can be a bad thing against these guys. Parrying them is by far the easiest way to handle that. Or interrupt, as the game calls it. More cocktails, and we got a torch, which would have been really handy in the dark. It's not like Dark Souls 2. The torch has no time limit whatsoever. You can use it as much as you want. You can attack with it by pushing L2, but the problem is not really that many places where it's useful. It doesn't really help that much, and you don't have a gun out when you have your torch out, so I tend to not use it very often. So this area is the first place that I died. I actually did die here at FromSoft in front of my hero, and he cheered. He was like, yes, oh, thank God you died. I was like, what? But I died because I just kind of blindly rushed in, and this is a really, like, kind of an ambush area, I guess you could say. You can stealth around to where you don't even have to fight these guys at all. Like, you can just kind of stealth around here like this. I'm not going to do it, but you can. I just rushed in and tried to fight them all, and the mobility of the dogs combined with gunfire from the sniper. Oh, shit. Made it really bad. Dogs don't like getting shot. They always, like, have this huge reaction like this. Man, how many times I gotta shoot you? There we go. It's really not bad if you take it nice and slow, but... I just made blood bullets. If you notice, I have that red number underneath my main bullet count. What I did was I pushed up on the D-pad, I sacrificed some health, and I get 5 temporary blood bullets. I say temporary, you keep them as long as you want until you use them, but they will be used before your Quicksilver bullets are. Hear those howls. Those motherfuckers do not play. They mean business, man. Go ahead and get this Bloodstone Shard. Now, if you really want to fight these guys, I kind of recommend... Not kind of, I pretty much recommend, especially for newer players, to use Pungent Blood Cocktail and a Molotov. Or a couple of Molotovs, even. Wait, did that not work? But you can actually get behind them and deliver some... Whew. You see how much health he took off on me in one hit. You can get behind them and deliver backstabs to them. It works. It does work. So you can do things like that, but I recommend either using a Molotov, or either using Molotovs and Pungent Blood Cocktails, or simply just skipping them, because you don't actually have to fight these guys at all. The kennel shortcut that I showed you earlier, it actually comes out right here. Like, this is where it comes out at. This is the dark residence that we were in. Hi, sucker. See, right here. This is where we opened up the shortcut from the kennels. So you can use that to get behind the dogs, and then you don't even have to worry about them at all. You don't have to fight them. Like, you would come up here and go this way towards Cleric Beast, and you wouldn't have to fight those guys at all. So just keep that in mind. That's something that you can do if you're having trouble, and I would understand if you did, because those guys have a lot of HP, they hit very hard, and there's 2 of them, and they're aggressive, and I really just don't know why. I guess they really wanted to encourage you to find another way. Grab some petals. Grab some pebbles from the main street overlook. Can look down. See our handiwork. And over here, there's another shard. And another little hidden area. Did he fall down? Oh man. That's actually not really what I wanted. That's gonna complicate things. Oh well. You have a certain amount of super armor on your charge attacks, but only after the flash. Before that, you can be interrupted normally. These guys are pretty stout. But they drop shards, so they're worth killing. Now, going down there, the rats are actually pretty fucking dangerous. And the fact that I have one of those guys down there right now too makes matters a whole lot worse. So I think what I'll do... I think I'll use this to clear a little space. Oops. Oh well, use regain to get that health back from the fall. Ooh. The other one's coming. Very slowly though. Nice, throwing knives. I like throwing knives because they can function like pebbles and that you can pull enemies with them, but they scale with A with dex, and also they are one of the old Hunter Henrik's favorite weapons. Oh, come on now. Oh, it's like that, is it? It's like that, is it? If you don't lock on, you could throw those way farther. More throwing knives. And some blood vials, nice. Oh, crap. Good old regain. And there's an ambush right around this corner. Be careful. Ooh. Oh, shit. God damn, these guys are strong. parrying them or just comboing them is definitely the best way to go. But they give vials too, so. Sweet, we got our first armor upgrade. Hunter hat. Not really very lore heavy, lore significant, but a very good defensive upgrade for us. And we look cool, and it's always good to look cool. Now, let's see if I can actually just drop down onto this right here. Oh, I nailed it. Thick cold blood. Woohoo! Alright then. That is gonna wrap up the first episode. Man, I'm trying to explore all Essential Yharnam, but this motherfucker is big. There are so many like alternate branching paths and stuff that you can take. But I hope you saw some cool shortcuts and stuff that are gonna help out. And we got a lot of cool lore stuff coming up too. And look at those rats. They look like they have some interesting growths on their face. Foreshadowing. Anyway. Cool new moving emotes. This is so cool. You can do gestures while moving around now. Well, you can do some gestures. Ah! I will catch you guys next time on Yharnam FM.